Few people realize that one of humanity's most incredible adventures began almost 50 years ago. In the year 1977, NASA launched 2 spacecraft that were expected to study a few distant planets and complete their mission within only a handful of years. But something extraordinary happened. Today, those same spacecraft are farther from Earth than any human-made object has ever traveled. Nearly half a century later, they are still sending information back to our planet and revealing secrets that scientists never expected to find. Their names are Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Their journey began at exactly the right moment in history. The giant planets of the outer solar system happen to line up in a rare formation that occurs only once every 176 years. This alignment created a natural pathway through space. By using the gravity of each giant planet like a cosmic slingshot, the spacecraft could travel much farther than anyone originally planned. But perhaps the most surprising fact is not where they traveled, it is how they survived. By today's standards, the computers aboard Voyager are incredibly simple. Many modern household devices are more powerful, yet these spacecraft have continued operating in one of the harshest environments imaginable. NASA engineers knew that one day the probes would be so far away that no repair mission would ever be possible. Because of that, they built backups for almost everything: extra thrusters, redundant electronics, independent control systems. Every important component was designed to survive for decades. The spacecraft also faced another challenge. Far from the sun, solar panels would become almost useless. So the engineers chose a different solution. Each Voyager probe carries a special power source fueled by plutonium. As the radioactive material slowly decays, it produces electricity year after year. That decision turned out to be one of the most important engineering choices in space exploration history. No one in 1977 imagined that these machines would outlive generations of people and continue traveling toward the edge of interstellar space. On the 20th of August, 1977, Voyager 2 lifted off from Earth. Just over 2 weeks later, Voyager 1 followed. At that moment, nobody knew what awaited them. Gigantic storms, volcanoes erupting on distant moons, hidden oceans beneath frozen worlds, previously unknown moons, and discoveries that would completely change humanity's understanding of the solar system. Their first destination was Jupiter, and what they found there shocked the scientific world. After launch, the Voyager spacecraft spent nearly 2 years crossing the vast emptiness of space. Ahead of them waited their first destination, the largest planet in the solar system, Jupiter. But even before reaching the giant planet, Voyager began sending back images that changed the way people viewed their place in the universe. One of the earliest photographs showed Earth and the Moon as tiny points of light surrounded by endless darkness. It was a powerful reminder of how small our world really is. On the 5th of March, 1979, Voyager 1 became the first of the 2 spacecraft to arrive at Jupiter. Several months later, Voyager 2 followed. Scientists expected to find a giant gas planet. What they discovered was far more astonishing. As the probes approached, they revealed a world covered by enormous storms, swirling clouds, and powerful atmospheric currents. The entire planet seemed alive with motion. One feature immediately captured attention: the Great Red Spot. Astronomers had observed it for centuries, but Voyager revealed details nobody had ever seen before. The giant storm was far more complex and active than anyone expected. Yet an even bigger surprise was waiting. Voyager discovered that Jupiter's atmosphere was filled with countless turbulent systems, massive rotating storms, and violent weather patterns that scientists had never detected from Earth. Some of these storms were so large they could easily swallow our entire planet. Then came another shock. For many years, Saturn was believed to be the only planet with a ring system. Voyager proved that Jupiter also possessed rings. The discovery stunned the scientific community. Even one of the most studied planets in the solar system was still hiding major secrets. But the greatest surprise was not found on Jupiter itself. It was waiting on one of its moons. And what Voyager discovered there would completely transform our understanding of distant worlds. The most incredible discovery near Jupiter was not found on the planet itself. It was hiding on a moon called Io. Before Voyager arrived, scientists believed Io would look much like Earth's moon. A cold world, an ancient world, a surface covered with impact craters. But reality turned out to be completely different. When the first detailed images arrived on Earth, researchers could hardly believe what they were seeing. The expected craters were largely missing. Instead, Voyager revealed strange dark regions, massive deposits of material, and signs of recent geological activity. At first, some scientists suspected an error. Then more images arrived, and the evidence became impossible to ignore. Voyager had discovered something never seen before beyond Earth. Active volcanoes. Enormous plumes of gas and dust were blasting high above the moon's surface. Some eruptions were actually captured while they were happening. The discovery shocked the scientific community. Today, Io is known as the most volcanically active world in the entire solar system. But while Io was a world of fire, another moon revealed a completely different mystery: Europa. At first glance, it appeared frozen and lifeless, yet its surface was covered with enormous cracks and strange markings that stretched across the landscape. The more scientists studied the images, the more questions emerged. What created these features? What was hidden beneath the ice? Voyager provided the first clues that a vast ocean of liquid water might exist below Europa's frozen crust. The idea was revolutionary. If liquid water existed there, Europa could become one of the most promising places in the solar system to search for alien life. But Jupiter still had more surprises waiting. During the mission, Voyager discovered several previously unknown moons orbiting the giant planet. The number of known Jovian satellites suddenly increased. Each new image revealed a system far more complex and mysterious than scientists had imagined. Yet an even greater destination still lay ahead. A world famous for its beauty. A planet surrounded by magnificent rings. Saturn. After the astonishing discoveries around Jupiter, the Voyager spacecraft continued toward their next destination, Saturn. Scientists believed they already understood the planet's most famous feature, its rings. From Earth, the rings appeared impressive, but relatively simple. Many researchers expected Voyager to confirm what they already knew. Instead, the spacecraft revealed something completely unexpected. The rings were far more complex than anyone had imagined. What looked like a handful of giant rings from Earth turned out to be thousands of smaller structures packed together. The closer Voyager looked, the more detail appeared. The entire system resembled a vast cosmic machine built from countless layers of ice and dust. Then came another surprise. Voyager discovered a previously unknown ring surrounding Saturn, a feature nobody had ever seen before. But the discoveries continued. The spacecraft found small moons hidden among the rings. These moons were acting like cosmic shepherds. Their gravity helped keep sections of the rings organized and stable. For years, scientists had predicted such objects might exist. Voyager finally proved they were real. Then researchers noticed something even stranger. Dark features appeared inside the rings. They looked like giant spokes on a wheel. According to existing theories, these structures should not have been there at all. The discovery sparked intense debate. Even today, scientists are still investigating exactly what causes them. One leading idea suggests that electrical forces and Saturn's magnetic field may be involved, but the mystery remains unsolved. Then Voyager revealed something unexpected and slightly unsettling. Saturn's rings are not permanent. Gravity is slowly pulling ring material toward the planet. In other words, Saturn is gradually destroying its own most famous feature. One day, the magnificent rings may disappear completely, but while scientists were trying to understand the rings, another mystery was waiting nearby. One of Saturn's moons was about to steal the spotlight, a world unlike any other. Its name was Titan. When Voyager began exploring the moons of Saturn, scientists expected to find frozen and relatively ordinary worlds. Instead, they discovered two of the most fascinating objects in the entire solar system. The first was Titan. From a distance, Titan looked mysterious. Its surface was completely hidden beneath a thick orange haze. No telescope on Earth had ever been able to see through it. As Voyager studied the moon, researchers made a remarkable discovery. Titan possessed a dense atmosphere. In fact, its atmosphere was more similar to that of a planet than a typical moon. Nothing like it had ever been found beyond Earth. Even more surprising, the atmosphere was rich in nitrogen, the same gas that dominates Earth's atmosphere. The discovery immediately captured the attention of scientists around the world. What secrets could be hidden beneath those clouds? But while researchers were focused on Titan, another moon was preparing an even bigger surprise. Its name was Enceladus. At first glance, it appeared to be a simple frozen world, yet Voyager detected signs that something unusual was happening. Years later, scientists confirmed what the spacecraft had hinted at. Enceladus was ejecting enormous plumes of water vapor into space. Some of these eruptions extended thousands of kilometers above the moon's surface. This tiny world was actively spraying water into the vacuum of space. Even more astonishing, some of that material helped feed one of Saturn's rings. The discovery changed the way scientists viewed icy moons. Enceladus was not a frozen and inactive object. It was a dynamic world full of hidden activity. Today, many researchers believe a global ocean of liquid water exists beneath its icy crust. And wherever liquid water exists, the possibility of life becomes much more interesting. But while scientists were still trying to understand Saturn's remarkable moons, Voyager was preparing for a major turning point. After its encounter with Titan, Voyager 1 changed course forever. Its journey would now take it away from the planetary plane and toward interstellar space. Meanwhile, Voyager 2 continued deeper into the unknown. Its next destinations were the strangest planets ever visited by a spacecraft: Uranus and Neptune. After Saturn, the paths of the two Voyager spacecraft separated. Voyager 1 began heading toward the outer limits of the solar system. Voyager 2 continued deeper into unexplored space. Its next destination was Uranus. Even today, Uranus remains one of the most mysterious planets in our solar system. When Voyager 2 arrived in the year 1986, scientists expected to find something similar to Jupiter or Saturn. Instead, they saw a calm blue world. There were no giant storms visible from a distance, no dramatic cloud formations. At first glance, Uranus appeared surprisingly quiet, but appearances can be deceiving. The biggest surprise was not hidden in the atmosphere, it was hidden in the planet's magnetic field. Voyager discovered something nobody expected. The magnetic field of Uranus was tilted at an extreme angle. On Earth, the magnetic poles and rotational poles are relatively close together. On Uranus, that was not the case. The magnetic field appeared twisted and dramatically offset from the center of the planet. It was unlike anything scientists had seen before. The discovery forced researchers to rethink many ideas about how planetary magnetic fields form and behave. Then Voyager uncovered another surprise. Uranus had more rings than previously known. Unlike Saturn's bright rings, these rings were dark and difficult to detect. They looked like thin bands of cosmic dust surrounding the planet. But perhaps the most exciting discoveries involved Uranus's moons. Before Voyager arrived, only a handful were known. The spacecraft discovered 11 entirely new moons. Each one added another piece to the puzzle. Some appeared ancient and heavily cratered. Others showed signs of a much more active past. Yet one moon stood above all the others: Miranda. When scientists examined the images, they were stunned. Its surface looked as though pieces from different worlds had been stitched together. Enormous cliffs, gigantic canyons, chaotic regions unlike anything previously observed. Some researchers even suggested that Miranda may have been shattered long ago and later reassembled by gravity. Nothing like it had ever been seen before. Miranda quickly became one of the strangest objects in the solar system. But Voyager's greatest discoveries were still ahead. Its final planetary destination was approaching. A distant blue giant with the most powerful winds ever recorded: Neptune. 3 years after leaving Uranus, Voyager 2 reached the final destination of its grand tour: Neptune. It was the most distant planet ever visited by a spacecraft. Scientists knew very little about what awaited them there. What Voyager discovered was completely unexpected. From afar, Neptune appeared calm and peaceful. Up close, it revealed a very different reality. The planet turned out to be one of the most violent worlds in the solar system. Voyager measured astonishing wind speeds. Some atmospheric currents were moving at more than 1,300 miles per hour. These became the fastest winds ever recorded on any planet. The discovery puzzled scientists. Neptune receives far less energy from the Sun than Jupiter or Saturn. Its atmosphere should have been quieter. Instead, it was even more extreme. The farther from the Sun the spacecraft traveled, the more violent the weather seemed to become. Then Voyager spotted something enormous, a gigantic dark storm system. Scientists named it the Great Dark Spot. The storm was roughly the size of Earth. Powerful winds swirled through the atmosphere at incredible speeds. Another giant planetary storm had been hiding in plain sight, but Neptune still had more surprises waiting. For years, astronomers suspected the planet might possess rings. Voyager finally confirmed it. The spacecraft revealed faint, dusty rings surrounding Neptune. Even stranger, some parts of the rings appeared incomplete. Instead of forming perfect circles, certain regions gathered into bright arcs. It looked as though parts of the rings had simply vanished. Scientists are still studying how these unusual structures remain stable, yet the most remarkable discovery was waiting nearby. Neptune's largest moon, Triton. Researchers expected a frozen and inactive world. What they found was something entirely different. Voyager detected giant plumes erupting from Triton's surface. Gas and icy material blasted high above the frozen landscape. Nobody expected to see active eruptions on one of the coldest worlds in the solar system. Triton was not a dead moon. It was alive with activity. Its surface was covered with strange icy terrain, enormous fractures, and unusual pinkish ice deposits. The moon appeared to be constantly evolving. In the year 1989, Voyager 2 completed its historic journey through the outer planets. For the first time in human history, all 4 giant planets had been explored up close. But the greatest chapter of the story was only beginning. Now both Voyager spacecraft were heading toward a destination no human-made object had ever reached before: interstellar space. After completing their exploration of the giant planets, both Voyager spacecraft continued their journey into the unknown. But leaving the planets behind did not mean leaving the solar system. Far ahead lay an invisible boundary, the edge of the sun's influence, a frontier no human-made object had ever crossed before. To reach it, the spacecraft had to travel through regions that previously existed only in scientific theories. The first of these regions was where the solar wind began to slow down. The solar wind is a constant stream of charged particles flowing outward from the sun. Eventually, it collides with material drifting through interstellar space. Scientists expected this boundary to be relatively simple. Instead, Voyager revealed something surprising. As the spacecraft traveled through the outer reaches of the solar system, they discovered that the sun's magnetic environment was far more complicated than anyone expected. Instead of a smooth structure, there were enormous magnetic bubbles. These bubbles created a chaotic and constantly changing region. The discovery forced scientists to rethink their understanding of the outer heliosphere. The boundary of the sun's influence was not calm and orderly. It was turbulent and unpredictable. Then came a historic moment. On the 25th of August, 2012, Voyager 1 detected dramatic changes in its surroundings. The number of particles arriving from deep space suddenly increased. The density of plasma around the spacecraft also changed. Every sign pointed to the same conclusion. For the first time in human history, a human-made object had entered interstellar space. The announcement captured attention around the world. But then something unexpected happened. According to existing theories, the surrounding magnetic field should have changed significantly after crossing the boundary. Yet Voyager detected almost no change at all. Scientists were stunned. The observations did not match the models. The mystery was so significant that researchers spent nearly a year analyzing the data before officially confirming that Voyager 1 had entered interstellar space. Several years later, Voyager 2 reached the same boundary, and it discovered the same anomaly. Once again, the expected magnetic shift was missing. The conclusion was unavoidable. Humanity's understanding of the edge of the solar system was incomplete. The Voyagers had revealed that the true boundary between our solar system and interstellar space was far more complex than anyone had imagined. But another challenge was approaching. Not a scientific mystery, not a cosmic phenomenon, a problem much closer to home. After decades of flawless operation, the aging spacecraft were beginning to show signs of trouble. By the beginning of the 21st century, both Voyager spacecraft were tens of billions of kilometers from Earth. Signals now required almost an entire day to travel in one direction. Then something happened that engineers had feared for years. In the year 2022, Voyager 1 began sending strange information. At first, everything seemed normal. The spacecraft was still transmitting scientific data. It was still receiving commands. It was still communicating with Earth. But one critical system appeared to be malfunctioning. The computer responsible for the spacecraft's orientation began sending impossible readings. Engineers received streams of numbers that simply did not make sense. According to the data, Voyager was pointing in directions that should have made communication impossible. Yet the signal continued arriving exactly as expected. Something was clearly wrong. Imagine a mail carrier who delivers letters to the correct address every day. Then one morning, he begins speaking a completely unknown language. The letters still arrive. The route remains unchanged. Only the message becomes impossible to understand. That was the mystery facing NASA. What made the situation even stranger was that Voyager believed everything was working normally. Its emergency protection systems never activated. The spacecraft saw no problem at all. Engineers began a long investigation. Every question and answer required almost 2 full days. A single mistake could have ended the mission forever. For months, specialists examined every possible explanation. Hardware failure, radiation damage, memory corruption, computer malfunction. Eventually, the answer was found. Voyager had accidentally started using an older faulty computer to send part of its engineering data. That damaged system was creating the bizarre messages. Fortunately, the solution was relatively simple. Engineers instructed the spacecraft to switch back to the correct computer. Slowly, the problem disappeared. But this was only the first warning sign. In the year 2023, another major computer issue appeared. Once again, engineers spent months restoring normal operations. Meanwhile, Voyager 2 faced a different crisis. A routine command caused its antenna to shift by only 2 degrees. That tiny error was enough to nearly break communication completely. For a period of time, NASA effectively lost contact with the spacecraft. Engineers sent a powerful signal across interstellar distances using the Deep Space Network. Then came the long wait. Eventually, a response arrived. Voyager 2 successfully turned back toward Earth. The mission was saved, but one thing had become clear. The spacecraft were growing old, and the final chapter of their story was approaching. Not the end of their journey, but the beginning of an endless voyage among the stars. One day, the Voyager spacecraft will fall silent, not because of an accident, not because of a collision, and not because of some dramatic event in deep space. The reason will be much simpler. They will run out of power. With every passing year, their nuclear power sources produce a little less electricity. To keep the mission alive, engineers have spent decades shutting down non-essential systems. First, the cameras were turned off. Then, other scientific instruments followed. Today, the spacecraft continue operating only because every remaining watt of power is carefully managed. But that power will not last forever. Eventually, the final instruments will shut down, and communication with Earth will come to an end. Yet that will not be the end of the Voyager story. In many ways, it will be the beginning. For millions of years, the spacecraft will continue drifting through the Milky Way. No commands, no communication, no assistance, only motion, endless motion through the darkness between the stars. In roughly 40,000 years, Voyager 1 will pass near a distant star in the constellation Camelopardalis. Voyager 2 will continue its own journey toward other neighboring stars. Hundreds of thousands of years from now, both spacecraft will be traveling through regions of the galaxy completely unknown to us today. By then, Earth itself may be unrecognizable. Nations may disappear, languages may change, entire civilizations may rise and fall, yet Voyager will continue onward. There is another remarkable detail. Each spacecraft carries a message from humanity, a golden record. Stored on that record are the sounds of Earth, ocean waves, bird songs, human voices, music from many cultures around the world, greetings spoken in dozens of languages, images of our planet, its animals, its people, and the world we call home. If an intelligent civilization ever discovers one of the Voyager spacecraft, it may learn who sent this tiny messenger across the galaxy. In a sense, Voyager has become a time capsule of humanity, a message that may outlive our own world. But perhaps the greatest achievement of the mission is not the distance traveled, not the photographs, and not even the discoveries. Voyager proved that human curiosity can reach far beyond the limits of our physical presence. 2 small spacecraft launched in the year 1977 changed our understanding of the universe forever. And even now, they continue their journey, in silence, among the stars, carrying the story of Earth into eternity.